Tuesday Tips. Thank you for joining. This is our weekly check-in. We discuss different topics in plastic surgery and I get to answer your questions. If you were seeing my stories and my Instagram this past weekend, you already know that I was at the aesthetic meeting. So I wanted to share some things and some thoughts that I learned during that weekend and tell you a little bit about what the aesthetic meeting is. So the aesthetic meeting is the largest aesthetic meeting for plastic surgeons here in the US and one of the largest nationwide. So we all the board certified plastic surgeons that do aesthetic meet there, but also we get a lot of international plastic surgeons as well that come give conferences and also participate with us and take the meeting. It also has different areas for estheticians, practice management, a lot that involves running a aesthetic plastic surgery practice. So it's a very, very good meeting. It's since Thursday, so Thursday to Sunday, 4 days of intensive, different topics and all of the areas. It's not only body work, a lot of topics. I participated in a master class of facelift, neck lift, rhinoplasties, eyelid surgery, a lot of neck contouring, but also like chest contouring, gynecomastia, breast procedures, everything. Massive weight loss patients was other hot topic. And the society that does the meeting is the ASAPS, is the short version, but it's the Aesthetic Society for Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons. So to be a member, you have to be a board certified plastic surgeon and pass through a rigorous process to be accepted to the society. I'm in the process because I just submitted all my paperwork, so coming soon my membership, official membership to ASAPS, but I participated in the meeting as an associate member, which is what I'm right now. I like to go every year because for me, education is key, and for me to let you guys know what things are new, but also so I know that I'm doing what's best and what's top notch in my practice for you guys. Okay, like I said, they talked about a lot of things, but one of the topics that they discuss, I found it to be the most interesting one because it brings a lot of answers that we were lacking. Okay, so it's about breast implant illness. So breast implant illness is a hot topic in social media and is a topic of concern and fear. A lot of patients. A lot of patients with breast implants or that they want to have breast implants and they don't know if they're safe or not. And the reality is that we did not have a lot of studies to back up any evidence, and we really didn't have good answers about a lot of the symptoms, a lot of the improved or not improved patients after the breast implants were removed. But I am happy to let you guys know that one of the things that they presented is 2 large studies for the last 3 years. They've been gathering data. One was done here in the US. It was a multi-center study done with different plastic surgeons in the United States. And the other one was in Australia. Also a multi-center with a lot of patients looking into what is it, what's happening, and to get some answers. One of the things that they're bringing up is that we shouldn't call it breast implant illness. Okay, so we're changing the name. The reason to change the name is because breast implant illness means that there's an illness with the implant, and we haven't found that association. So we now call it SSVI, or systemic symptoms associated with breast implants. Okay, that's a more descriptive name because it's not a condition, it's not a disease, it's more symptoms that can be associated with the placement of the implants. And what are the things that were concerns and that they looked in the study? One of the hypotheses or the things that people were saying and thinking is that the implants have toxins and metals in them, causing them that the body reacts. So these 2 studies compared. So So they had a group of patients, they followed for over a year, a group of patients that were presenting with these symptoms, and compare them with a group of patients that they just wanted their implants removed but did not have any symptoms. Both group of patients had removal of implants and capsule removal, and those capsules with the implants with the breast tissue that was removed was sent to laboratories to investigate, and both were compared. So patients that had symptoms and implants were removed, and patients that did not have symptoms, they just wanted to go smaller, they just wanted to change the implant, other reasons, right, also were reviewed and were compared, and they found no evidence of any metals or toxin levels in any of the two groups. Okay, so we can't say that the implants have toxins that are creating this in the body. That is not what we see in those studies, and we're talking again in US and Australia separately. And these studies are separate from the breast implant companies. This is not the breast implant companies doing this study. These are plastic surgeons with their patients doing the studies, okay? So they didn't find any toxin. So metals, we all have metals, trace levels of metals in our bodies. That's just part of our cellular formation. But those levels that were found in the implants and in the capsule were not found to be higher than compared to the levels that we all have in our body, okay? The other concern was infectious. So maybe there's a bacteria that is causing this inflammation, causing the symptoms to start. So they sent it as well for culture and for something called PCR, which is checking that if there's DNA for bacteria in any of these implants. Both of the groups, no evidence of this. So there is no infectious etiology or infectious cause to the symptoms. The other concern was it may be that your body is rejecting or creating antibodies against the capsule or the implant. So again, when it was sent to pathology, it was sent to blood work, we checked for antibodies. The blood for the patients was also sent to check if they had markers that are shown with inflammation. None of it in both groups showed any evidence of inflammation markers increased or of levels of antibodies increased. So there's not an evidence of an autoimmune response, okay? And the final one, is it an allergic reaction, right? Maybe your body has an allergy. So allergic reactions go through two systems in the immune system, a cellular response or an antibody response, but instead of an antibody for infection, it's called an IgE, which is the antibody for allergy reaction. So that was sent to. No evidence of that. So bottom line, we can rest aside that the implants are not causing toxin metal levels in our body. The implants are not causing the bacteria to grow and create these infections. The implants are not causing allergic reactions or autoimmune response in the body. So what is it? That's the unfortunate part. We're still not completely sure what's going on. There is an association with patients with history of depression and anxiety. So it may be something that your body, like fibromyalgia-like symptoms, that you develop these symptoms with the association of the implant, but it's not that the implant is causing the disease, okay? Bottom line is that at least we can be rest assured that we're not putting toxins or we're putting harm in the patient. What are the things to consider moving on from this, right? What do we do with this information? And I think that's the most important one. One, educate, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to educate my patients on what is breast implant illness, or better called systemic symptoms associated with breast implants, so you can make an informed decision. If this information is something that causes you stress, anxiety, and having that in your body, it's not gonna let you live a calm and happy life, then don't put implants, right? That's not the solution. Then you are not a good candidate. Those are not that's not the solution for the rejuvenation or improvement of your breast shape. We can do other things, right? But you can rest assured that that it's not toxins or bacteria or something harmful in your body, okay? The other thing that's important is the surgery, right? So what if you had implants and you say, I've done all the blood work, everything seems to be fine, but I have these symptoms and I'm not uncomfortable and I want my implants out. Of course, let's take them out, right? But there's something, or in social media, we've seen more and more people talk that if you have the symptoms, you have to do an en bloc resection. En bloc resection means that you're taking the implant, the capsule, and the tissue around it. En bloc surgery was described for cancer, okay? And that's the term in surgery. When you're doing an en bloc resection, means that you're removing a malignancy. And when you remove a malignancy, you have to have a negative margin. So tissue that's good that you remove to make sure that there are no malignant cells left in the body. This illness or this condition, it's not a malignancy and it's not a problem with the implant causing the harm itself. So there's no need to do an en bloc resection. En bloc resection will remove breast tissue that you'll need for your lift and for your aesthetics. And if we need to do it because it's something malignant, of course we'll do it. But if it's not needed and it's not going to change anything after the surgery, then why put you in extra harm, extra pain after the surgery, and the possibility of having an anomaly or deformation in your breast because tissue has been removed, okay? So we should take out the word en bloc because there's no evidence suggesting that there's something wrong with the capsule. If you want the implant out, of course, but then we should talk about total versus partial capsulectomy. So we can't remove the capsule, that's not the issue. But using the term en bloc, it's not correct because we're not removing breast tissue with it, okay? And it's not needed, okay? So total versus partial capsulectomy will depend on where the implant is placed and also how attached is that capsule to your chest wall. If the implant is put under the muscle, sometimes that capsule gets very attached to your ribs and to your chest wall. And in trying to do a total capsulectomy, you may injure the ribs, you may end up with bleeding, and you may end up with lung injury. And if it's not needed, again, then why do it, okay? So you can safely do a partial capsulectomy, remove the capsule, that it's there, that it's free and freeable, and it's with the implant. But if it's super attached to your chest wall and it will bring you more harm, there is no scientific evidence that you need to do that like it's a cancer, okay? So it's good that we know that we have the evidence and we have the data to educate our patients to say, don't worry, if you have capsule left behind, that's not going to be an issue. Capsule is scar tissue. We have scar tissue in our body, okay? So if there's not a problem with the capsule, then there's no need to go and try to take it out if it's not going to improve any symptoms or change anything in your body, okay? So I think for me, this was the highlight of the conference because like I said in the beginning, it was very hard to educate my patients without data, okay? Doctors, surgeons, we're all scientists. We want the numbers, right? It's not because someone told me, it's because someone said. No, let me see the numbers. Let me see what's it. And we have that now, so I can educate you. So I was very, very glad to participate in this talk. Note aside, it was a study done in the US by 4 female plastic surgeons, so I was very proud to participate in that talk. And the next president, or the new president, because she started in the meeting of the Aesthetic Society, is a female plastic surgeon in Nashville, Melinda Haas. So, and she was the one leading the talk. So it was very nice to see role models in our specialty talking and educating and bringing me the information so I can educate you. So I'll take some questions if you guys have it now.
First, a message at our YouTube channel, Hannah Gamboa. Buenas tardes, muy buen trabajo educativo e informativo. Gracias, doctora.
A la orden, qué bueno que les ayude. Y si tienen otros temas o otras preguntas que quieren que yo discuta, me los mandan por mensajito y seguro que yo las discuto.
Después del BBL, ¿en cuánto tiempo puedo volver al trabajo?
So, esa pregunta depende de lo que hagas para trabajar. Yo usualmente digo que las primeras 2 semanas las debes tomar de recuperación. So, todo el mundo se debe tomar por lo menos 2 semanas. Luego de las 2 semanas va a depender de lo que tú hagas, ¿ok? Las restricciones luego de las 2 semanas son que no puedes levantar cosas pesadas por más de 10 libras ni hacer ejercicio. So, si tu trabajo envuelve estar levantando cosas, moviendo cosas, pues no puedes hacerlo hasta las 6 semanas postoperatorias. Y lo otro es que te tienes que sentar con el BBL pillow, que es la almohadita que te vas a poner debajo de los muslos para que no puedas ponerle presión a los glúteos. So, si trabajas sentada, pues puedes trabajar con el BBL pillow, pues sí puedes volver a trabajar, pero esas son las restricciones. La mayoría de las pacientes vuelven a las 2 semanas.
Do you do Galaflex or internal bra?
Yes, that's a very good question, and it's a topic that was also discussed a lot in the aesthetic meeting. And I think it benefits a lot, especially massive weight loss patients, patients that have recurrence of ptosis after a previous breast lift, or very thin skin patients that the skin is, the quality of the skin is very thin and it's not going to hold in a lift. So I do advise it for those patients, and I think it's a very good add-on. It's what's called the internal bra. It's a mesh that is absorbable, but the good thing is that your body absorbs it, but the tissue that is left behind is stronger, so it creates that support for the breast.
Doctora, ¿cuánto tiempo se debe usar Silagen? Hoy estamos en Spanglish.
Me gusta. El Silagen lo debes usar un mínimo de 3 meses para ver una diferencia. El Silagen y cualquier producto de cicatrización no va a hacer algo rápido. Eso es algo que tienes que utilizar y vas a ver la mejoría con el tiempo. So, por eso es que por lo menos 3 meses de todos los días deberías utilizarlo. Yo recomiendo, si puedes, 6 meses a un año.
Okay. When doing an arm lift, it will be sculpted as well?
So yes, definitely. So when an arm lift involves removal of the excess skin and the fat associated with that hanging excess skin. There's some patients that I do also liposuction, not everyone. So if you are a massive weight loss patient that have very thin skin and it's mainly skin, there's no reason to do liposuction with it. But if you have more of a thicker arm and the flaps or the area around where the scar is going to be is thick, I also do liposuction to create and recontour the arm.
Doctora, me gustaría saber cuál es la diferencia entre un breast lift y una mastopexia, ¿o es lo mismo?
Es lo mismo, sí, básicamente el breast lift es el nombre coloquial, lo que le conocemos todo el mundo y hablamos del levantamiento de seno. El término médico o quirúrgico es la mastopexia.
Okay. Do you do chin lipo, and can I add it to my BBL surgery coming up next month?
Yes, ma'am. So chin lipo is a very common add-on for BBLs, and yes, it's a small incision here in the crease of the neck, and basically emptying out the subcutaneous fat in the neck area to achieve a more sharp angle between your chin and your neck. Depends on the skin laxity that you have. I usually recommend FaceTite to this area. The skin in the neck is very thin. And the problem with just chin lipo is that then the skin sags. So it's good to add a energy device such as FaceTite that provides radio frequency energy to the deep tissue and assess and assist with skin retraction to a better angle.
Okay, another in Spanish. Y esta dice, doctora, con un tummy tuck, porque algunos cirujanos hacen una cicatriz vertical debajo del ombligo. Gracias.
Sí, hola. La cicatriz pequeña, me imagino que estás hablando de si este es el abdomen, aquí está el ombliguito y esta es la incisión aquí abajito, a veces hacen una incisión pequeñita ahí. Esa incisión es, si tú no tienes mucho exceso de piel, esa incisión es la apertura del ombligo. Como funciona un tummy tuck es que tienes aquí el ombligo previo y tienes el exceso de piel aquí. Básicamente, de la incisión al ombligo, toda esta piel se remueve y esta piel entonces pasas a hacer la incisión de abajo, ¿verdad? Esto se estira hacia abajo. Si no tienes mucho exceso de piel y esta piel no llega completamente aquí abajo, esta apertura del ombligo, entonces hay que cerrarla. el ombliguito se queda acá arriba, lo saco por una incisión y esta entonces queda como una T invertida allá abajito. Eso no es muy común, pero hay veces que hay que hacerlo. Sí hay que hacerlo. Lo bueno es que luego que la piel sana y la inflamación baja, entonces con local en la oficina puedo hacer una excisión así pequeñita, sacarlo y bajar eso y remover ese pequeño vertical.
When you resume intimacy after getting a tummy tuck?
Very good question. It's good to wait 6 weeks. So remember, the restrictions are heavy lifting and strenuous exercise, both of which are usually done in intimacy. So it's better to wait 6 weeks to have the muscle repair and the incisions well healed so we don't open up anything. Awesome. So thank you so much, you guys. I hope this findings and these new things that I learned in the aesthetic meeting teach you a little bit about what's the upcoming, what's new, and also give you some peace of mind that we are trying to find answers on what is the systemic symptoms associated with breast implants. And with time, we're going to get more and more information to help all of your patients. Okay. So I hope to see you guys next Tuesday in Tuesday Tips. Have a nice week.